of British politics forever.
As an MP, there were many days that were real toughies for me. As a female member of a largely male-dominated house, I had my share of run-ins.
There is no such thing as partial equality. People are either equal or they are not.
I remember on my first day being greeted by one of the older gentleman members with, "Hello, my dear, and who are you working for?" But those days, tough as they were nothing compared to what my political heroine had to endure. Lady Nancy Astor, the first woman to take a seat in the Commons. In her early years, she was shamefully treated by her fellow male MPs. For the first 2 years, they didn't speak to her. But this lady was no quitter. Despite all her wealth, she really cared about people. So when I spoke on women's health or the welfare of children or campaigned about vulnerable adults, it was Nancy's example which inspired me. And this was her home, Cliveden in Berkshire, a gift to Nancy and her husband Waldorf from his father, the American railroad tycoon William Waldorf Astor. Over the years, Cliveden has played host to some of the world's most powerful people. Churchill, Roosevelt, royal family, even actors like Charlie Chaplin were entertained here. So who was Lady Nancy Astor, originally from the deep south of America? And why did she act as such an inspiration to me throughout my entire political career? Well, she first got a taste for politics when her husband Waldorf became a Member of Parliament for Plymouth, and she got to speak on political platforms on his behalf. Molly Thompson worked for Lady Astor for nearly 20 years after being asked to help out with the ladies arriving for Ascot Week in 1947. What was life like here at Cliveden at the time?
The staff was a team. It wasn't left to one individual. As a boss, she was very sincere and serious. I don't ever remember telling any of the staff off. One thing I particularly know about Lady Nancy, she did contact the staff about their living accommodation, and on a Saturday morning she would come round to every cottage and make sure things were all right. You felt you were really working for a real lady with Nancy Astor.
Nancy was nominated and campaigned to enter Parliament as MP for Plymouth. Her posters proclaimed, "Vote for Lady Astor and your babies will weigh more." But the press failed to take her seriously. She was seen as upper class and out of touch. But that didn't stop her. She persevered and finally took her seat here in the House of Commons in 1919. Westminster had its first woman MP. She tirelessly campaigned for women, children and against violence in marriage, especially violence under the influence of drink. Her teetotal views were at first unpopular, but led to legislation that raised the legal age for consuming alcohol to 18. Nancy had a quick wit and clever tongue. She didn't get on with Churchill and they would argue. She once told Churchill, "Winston, if I were married to you, I'd put poison in your coffee." To which Churchill replied, "Nancy, if you were my wife, I'd drink it." When Nancy spoke in the House of Commons for the last time, she said, "I shall miss the House, but the House will not miss me." She died eventually at the age of 85 in 1964. She was a truly great lady, and she used her position as an MP to better the lives of others. She gets my vote.
Edwina's here, and she's got a bit of the Hoff fever herself tonight, haven't you, Edwina?
Yeah. Don't worry the curry. Does anything worry the curry? You don't seem the worrying type to me, Edwina.
I'm not the worrying type at all, no.
But by the time you got into Parliament in '83, was it an equal opportunities kind of place? Did it feel equally yours?
Not at all. I mean, when I was elected in 1983, we had 23 women MPs.